Hello and welcome back. Continuing my NFL preview series, making my way through all 32 teams in the run up to the kickoff of the NFL season as the Ravens face the Chiefs on Thursday, September 5th. Today, continuing in the AFC East, it is time for the Miami Dolphins. And the Dolphins, they took a step forward in 2023 with Mike McDaniel. They were atop the AFC East for most of the season, and sometimes they put up some gaudy offensive numbers, but they kind of slipped behind the Bills at the end. They still made the postseason, but it was a very cold night for them in Kansas City in the wild card round, and that is where their season came to an end. Now they have their sights set on getting at elusive playoff victory in 2024. Can they get it done? Well, they saw a handful of players move on this offseason, including some defenders. They lost a few pieces on the defensive line, but they did work to build up some other options in the passing game. They also loaded some on defense. They brought in safety Jordan Poyer from the division rival Bills. They added Calais Campbell and Emmanuel Ogba. But one of the more interesting additions was adding wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. to be this team's third receiver. They also made a move at tight end, grabbing Jonnu Smith, who caught 50 passes for 582 yards and 3 touchdowns in 2023 for the Falcons. That gives them some additional passing game options behind Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. Makes it very interesting. In the draft, they grabbed a pass rusher in Chop Robinson. They grabbed a tackle in Patrick Paul. Later in the draft, they added Jalen Wright. I think he's an interesting, speedy running back that gives them another running back in that group. The former Tennessee star rushed for 2,297 yards and 18 touchdowns in 3 seasons. He gives them some depth. In fantasy, Tua got a new contract, as did this man, Tyreek Hill. They have locked up all 3 pieces of that passing triumvirate for the long term, with Tua, Hill, and Waddle all getting deals. Tua was QB9 last year. I like him as a QB1 again. In the backfield, Raheem Mostert was a star in 2023, finishing as running back 5. But Devon Achane, meanwhile, averaged 17.3 points per game when he was healthy. I like both of them to be in the RB2 range this year. I think they're going to split the work. I think Achane is the one that I have finishing a little bit higher. I like Wright more in Dynasty, and I suspect he's a long-term replacement probably for Mostert in this group. But if there is an injury, there's certainly an opportunity for him to step up. That was a little bit of what happened with Devon Achane last year. In the passing game, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, as I mentioned, locked up new contracts. In 2023, Hill was wide receiver 2, was actually named number 1 in the NFL's top 100 players as voted by fellow players. Waddle finished as wide receiver 34, missed a few games. I still like Hill as a wide receiver 1. I think Waddle can be a wide receiver 2 this season. The question is, what do we get from Beckham and Smith? I think Beckham will have his moments, but he's probably not in the top tier of wide receivers to me. I like Smith as a solid tight end too. I think he can become a strong third option in that passing game. So what all does this mean for the Dolphins when it comes to their pursuit of a postseason victory? Well, I like the Dolphins a lot last year. I think if they would have had a slightly stronger finish, they probably would have won the AFC East. I think they can win the AFC East this year, get a home playoff game. I do like them to get their first playoff win in a long time. I don't know if I see them making a deep run, but I think they can get at least one playoff victory, which would be a big step up